everyone. So now that we are ready to start adding color and our glue is completely dry, you can see it made a nice border around our entire gumball machine. We're going to be using chalk pastel to add color. We want to make ours look as realistic as possible, just like Wayne Thiebaud did. So we're going to work on some techniques using the chalk pastel to start. The first technique we're going to use on is creating a gumball by blending. So at your tables, you have a color wheel of chalk pastels. When we are blending colors, you want to stick with more analogous colors, so colors that are close to each other on the color wheel. Those are going to blend nicely together. If I go across the color wheel to the other side, those are considered complementary. Those are the most different colors, and those are usually going to be making a brown color when mixed together. So when we're blending, we want to stick with those analogous colors that are close to each other. So I think I'm going to do a blue-purple blending to make this gumball. So when we're creating our gumballs, we want this circle to turn into a sphere. So we want to make it look like it's popping out at us. So I'm going to start on one side, and I'm going to just add some blue. And then I'm going to go to the other side and add some purple. And then I'm going to just blend those together. You might notice there's some excess chalk residue, so I can just blow that off. When I'm blowing it off, I want to make sure I turn away from the people at my table so I don't blow it onto their artwork or onto them. So you're going to notice this side's a lot darker and this side's a lot lighter, but I can even enhance that more by adding some lighter purple. All right, let's do darker purple and a lighter blue. So if I'm looking at this gumball, it looks like I have a light source shining in this direction because the lightest part is where that light's going to be coming from, so over here, and the darkest part is going to be the furthest away from that light. That's what's really creating that appearance that it's a sphere now instead of a circle. So I'm blending two colors together to make the appearance of a sphere. So I'm going to create this one by adding value. Remember, value is lights and darks, so you can do that by just using neutral colors. So I can start, and I just lay my chalk down, and it just takes a little bit of chalk and blending it out to really add that color. So I'm not putting a lot of color on. Just a little bit goes a long ways. And then I'm going to create that light source to make this look more like a sphere instead of a circle by adding white to where that light source is coming from. And I could either choose to add black or a darker orange or even red to the other side to give that shadow. So it goes from lighter to darker to really create that sphere look. This one, I'm going to create a gumball however I want, but your goal is to be able to make it look three-dimensional, so make this circle turn into a sphere. So if you wanted to, you could do a gumball that has stripes. And then I'm just going to blend it across. And then I could use value, so I could use whites to add that light source to make it look more like a sphere. And I could even add like a dark purple or a dark blue up here to make it look more like a sphere. All right? So I've created the appearance of gumballs up here. Down here, we're going to just experiment with some other techniques that you can use for other parts of your gumball. In this space here, this is just for you to lay out kind of what colors you want for your gumball machine. So you could go with a traditional red for the base with some blue to highlight the metal parts. All right, and then maybe you want to have a color theme for your gumball. So maybe you're just gonna have primary colors for your gumballs. So then you can just add that up there. So you're planning ahead so you know what you wanna do when you started on your final piece. All right, so you're gonna notice too that your hands do get messy. So I always like to keep a paper towel close by so I can wipe them off as I go along and as I switch colors, because you want your colors to be as pure as possible. I'm now ready to start on my gumball machine. So I'm gonna start by coloring in the base. I'm going to use that side technique and just kind of color in that whole area. You could start with your gumballs first if you wanted. But again, look at how little amount of chalk I'm using to start with. And then I'm going to make sure my hands are nice and clean, and I'm going to blend that in. Making sure I go all the way to the edges of that space. Now you might find that that feeling of chalk on paper is not very comfortable to you. That is totally fine. If you need to, you can wrap either a tissue or a paper towel around your finger, and that's exactly the same technique, but then you don't have to be touching it at all. All right, so I noticed this side's not quite as dark, so I'm just gonna add a little bit more over there. So I'm choosing to be very limited initially when I add my chalk, so I don't have big piles of dust and I'm not wasting that chalk. And then I can go in and always add more if I need to. Notice I'm needing a little bit more up here. All right, so I have the base coat down for the actual gumball machine. Now I want to decide where I want my light source to be coming from. This is going to be the same light source that I'm going to use for every single part of my gumball machine. So I'm deciding that my gumball machine's light source is going to come from the upper left-hand corner. So that means that everything that's on the upper left-hand side is going to be the lightest, and this will be the darkest. So I could choose to go in with a little purple to create a little value to show this part is going to be darker, and blend that in. I could go in with some orange or yellow on this side to make this appear lighter. And even maybe a little yellow to really make it appear lighter. And some white. So remember, the base of yours is a cylinder, so you really want to give it the appearance that it's wrapping around and not flat, right? So now that I'm done with the base, I'm going to go ahead and add these details in. Another great thing is that you can actually erase chalk. So if you get it outside of some of the spaces and you don't want it to affect the colors in that space, you can take the erasers at your table and just erase those a little bit. So in this area, I want it to be looking like metal. So I'm going to go ahead and add some blue. Again, really make sure you're not doing a lot, because now I don't want it to get mixed in with the red outside. All right, but again, now I'm going to consider that light source. So I'm going to make this side darker. So I'm just using a darker blue. Maybe I even want a darker blue than that. Let's do this one. And then blend it. There we go, that's a nice value. And then maybe up here I'm gonna add a little white to make that highlight. Same goes for in here. And down here. So I'm going to continue this all along the bottom, and then I'll show you how we can do the gumballs at the top. All Alright, so I just want to show you with the rim really quickly. I wanted it to look like it's popping out a little bit. So I did do a little bit darker underneath, and then I went with a lighter all the way through the middle, so it makes it look like it's bowed out and it's not just flat all the way across. So I'm going to start working up here in the gumballs, and I actually think I'm going to do a color scheme of green, orange, and a purple. And I think I'll be using different darks and lights of those colors to make it look more like a sphere. So I'm going to go in, add a little bit of green, smooth it out, like this one green, smooth it out, blend it out. Again, not a lot of chalk, just a small amount of chalk. Goes a long ways. Now I want to add that light source. Again, my light source is coming from the upper left-hand corner down. So I want this bottom side to be the dark side. And I'm being careful not to touch the other areas because I don't want to smudge that. So I'm going to see if there's a dark green. I could even do a little blue to really make it dark. And then I could use either a lime green or a yellow on the top. And blend that. Notice when I blend too, I blend in a circle. I don't blend straight because I really want to emphasize that this is round and not flat. Alright, so I finished all of the gumballs at the top. I'm going to go in and make the rest of the ball on the top look more like it's made out of glass. I'm going to do that by using some blue. So I'm going to go in and add some blue, and I'm using a light blue to start with. Make sure I get it all the way in. Using that glue line as a good reminder of where I need to stop blending. Alright, and now I want to make it look like it's a round globe, glass globe. So I'm going to add a lot of highlight up here where that light source is coming from, and some low dark shadows in the other opposite corner. I can fill in some of those empty spots if I want. Alright, so now the final thing I'm going to do is add a color to the background. I want to choose a color that's not going to take away from what I've done to the rest of it. So I notice I haven't used any yellow yet. So I'm going to go ahead and use some yellow in the background. Alright, so I finished the background, and the final thing I wanted to do was add a little shadow over in this corner to kind of show, again, emphasize where that light source is and that this is actual real space. So this is the shadow that is coming off of the gumball machine. So again, my light source is hitting this way, so there would be a shadow over on this side. So here's a few tips with using the chalk. Make sure you're using a small amount to start with, because you can always add more, but you can't take any away. Making sure that your hands are fairly clean. I know my hands are clean if I'm wiping it off and then nothing else is coming off on the piece of tissue or on the paper towel. So a small amount, making sure your hands are clean, and remembering where your light source is. So if your light source is in the upper left-hand corner, everything on every piece of this in the upper left-hand corner should be the lightest, all right? The final thing you might want to do is go in and add just a glare to your gumballs. So that's just a little white line, almost like a comma, to really emphasize where that light source is. And voila!